kids, it's Caddy, and I am here today to share a card with you guys. It's a Valentine's Day um, shaker card. So this was a lot of fun to make. This is a project for the Sketch and Scrap design team. I will have a link below to Sketch and Scrap, to their blog. It's a very, very fun blog. We have uh, 4 challenges or 4 sketches every month, 2 card sketches and 2 layout sketches for you guys. So it's a lot of fun. You guys can play along with the sketches and submit your layouts or cards to be entered in a monthly prize. So be sure you guys check out sketchandscrap.com. It's sketchandscrap.blogspot.com. I'll have a link below in the description box so you guys can head on over there. And there's also a Facebook page, so I'll have links to that below. So what I'm doing for my card, I kind of started out not really knowing where I was going with this, but I knew I wanted to start off with black. And my little texture boutique here is giving me a little bit of a hard time. It didn't want to pull the plates through, so I finally got it to work. And there it is, my pretty embossed chevron image. And that embossing folder is from Mementa. It's a 5x7 embossing folder, and I just put that through my little texture boutique. And I love embossing paper. It's so much fun. So I then decided, okay, I'm gonna do some kind of a shaker something. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So I kind of have to take this another route, and I punch out 2 of these scallop circles, which is just a scallop punch that I have from Michael's. So I realized that I'm gonna have to cut off that front edge, which is gonna kind of sit on top of my card, and I will have to attach that afterwards. So I'm just cutting down another piece of black to the size of my card, so then I could back that behind my photo, because it's all going to be in black. And I really wanted to do something different. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with a traditional Valentine's Day, but you know, I just wanted to do something a little bit different. So that's why I decided to go for the black. So I'm poking holes through the back of that, through the actual card itself, so that the sequins and the pockets could kind of show through. So that's how I did that. And then I'm using some of this foam in white. I really wish I had black fun foam, but I only have white. So I'm using what I have. Either way, it's pretty thin, so you can't really see it. You know, once you glue everything down, it's not really visible. So it's okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just marking where my little hole is going to poke through. And I realized that I was not going to be able to punch that out with my punch. So I'm just using my craft knife to just kind of cut around those little holes. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm using the little piece that I had punched out from the, with the little punch, to actually just measure and cut around it so I can get a nice semi-clean circle. I thought I was going to be able to punch through it, but it wasn't working. So yeah. So there I go. I'm just making sure that it doesn't show through and that everything is cool, so I can keep on going. And then I do the bottom one, and I'm a little bit off camera here. I'm sorry. So yeah, there I go. Just measuring with that piece, and then I'm just using my craft knife to cut through it, and it comes out pretty easily. This foam is relatively thin. It's not too thick, so comes out pretty easily. So there I go. I cut out my 2 circles, so I'm ready to create my little shaker pocket now, or pockets, I should say. So yeah, I was just taking off a little bit of excess that was kind of sticking out and was going to be would show through if I left it. So I'm going to adhere the fun foam to the front. So that embossed piece with the chevron, I'm going to adhere it to that. But first, I'm going to use some of this. This is just packaging that I have in my stash. So I'm just cutting down 2 pieces to cover the fronts of those little circles. So I'm just using my ATG gun to just go around those circles, and then I'm wiping those pieces and then just sticking them down. And you want to make sure, especially if you're using um, regular packaging or something that you have lying around. I know they sell specific, what is it called? Specific, I can't think of the word. But the specific paper that goes to make those little pockets. Um, so yeah, so I know they sell that, and I know you can buy that, but just always make sure to wipe it and make sure that you don't have any finger smudges, because it really sucks to close your shaker pocket and then realize that you have a bunch of fingerprints on your actual little pockets. So yeah, I was just taking my tweezer and just taking off a few extra little pieces of the foam. So I decided to go in a fuchsia and black color scheme, fuchsia, black, and gold. So I'm taking some gold sequins as well as some of these fuchsia sequins, and these are just from my stash. Pretty sure these are like the cheapo sequins from the dollar store. So they're not fancy sequins, just regular sequins. So yeah, so there I go, just putting some ATG around it, and then it's kind of a pain because as I'm trying to get my ATG tape around my little circle, my little sequins are kind of spilling out. So yeah, that's just gives me a little bit of a hard time. So what I do then is I just place another piece of that plastic um, little wrapping plastic. What is it called? Oh gosh, I can't think of the word. I'm sorry. I had a total brain fart and I can't think of the word of what that plastic is called that I'm placing there, but it's plastic and that's what I'm placing in my pockets. So, yeah, and then I had to fix my ATG because it was giving me a hard time too. So, here I go doing that. And my ATG always seems to give me a hard time at the middle of my project. So I'm like halfway through, I'm all excited, I want to finish up, and then my ATG either runs out of tape or it gives me a hard time. So so yeah, so there I go again, messing with my ATG, and I think it was just the roll was kind of unwinding, or I don't know. But yeah, so I'm just adding a lot of tape behind it, and I'm also going to go with some wet glue. This is Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive in my fine line bottle, so I use that as well. And I like to use both glues just to make sure that it does fully stick. So I like to make sure that I use both. So there you go. I have my little pockets made. So I take this stamp. This stamp is from my stash. I don't know where I got it. If I tell you, I'd be lying to. But I'm dipping it in one of those little Memento Dewdrop ink pads, which is the color is Lilac Posies. Yeah, Lilac Posies. So I'm just kind of stamping a few images, trying to see if there's anything that I like. And I end up liking the hearts. I don't like the banner. The problem is the ink kind of bleeds a bit on the vellum, and it is dye ink, so it dyes the paper, but it kind of bleeds a little bit. So the image is not as crisp as it should be. So that's why I decided to just go with the heart. And then I take these doilies that are just from my stash, and those are Studio Calico doilies. And I have this gold, really pretty gold color, so I wanted to use those as well. Then I take this die cuts with a view, and it's a gold foil vellum pack. So I cut out from that chevron paper. I cut out a couple pieces of the gold foiled chevron paper, and then I'm gonna back those on. Gonna back those on my on the little pieces that I cut out, that I punched out, I should say. I'm just trying to add very little glue with that little tape runner. That's an Ad Tech tape runner. And basically, I don't want to add too much glue because it's vellum and it will show through. Even though that one has a vellum, a chevron pattern, and it's not as visible, it still kind of shows through. So that's why I decided to go ahead and just use a bit on the vellum pieces. So there I go. There are my two little arrows, and I'm gonna end up using those two on there, and I'm gonna pop it up. I don't know if I popped both of them up. I think I do. And then I decided I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna have the arrow, the chevron going to the side versus going up and down, which is the way that it is embossed on my card. So I'm gonna have it going sideways instead of up and down. So there I go. I'm cutting out my heart from the vellum, and I really like how that turned out. Again, I have to add very minimal glue just so that it doesn't show through, and then I kind of try to cover it. I don't have any specific vellum tape, and I have to probably look for some because I use vellum a whole lot. But you just kind of have to be strategic about it and just kind of place your vellum pieces, maybe layer them with other pieces, and then add the glue where the items are layered so that it doesn't show through. So I cut out the smaller heart and I cut out the bigger heart. One thing I do also do that you guys will not see me do on camera, I do this afterwards, is I go through all the hearts, and what I do is I just take a white jelly roll pen and I do a sort of faux stitching on the hearts to kind of make them pop a little bit more. So you guys won't see me do that, but I do that in the end, and you will see that in the still shots, how it has sort of a faux stitching on it. So now I'm trying to see what I want to do as far as my sentiment, and I really like this "I love you," um, and that's just a stamp. I believe that's for Michaels, if I'm not mistaken. So I really, really like that. Now the problem I was having is I didn't like it like that as a rectangle. It just was not working for me. You can see I kind of started moving everything around to see where I was going to place that rectangle that says I love you, and I just really could not find a place for it. I didn't like it anywhere. You see, I'm moving it. So what I decide to do is I decide to basically just cut around the word, which you'll see me do in just a minute. So I just cut very carefully, just kind of fussy cut around the word, or not the word, around the phrase, and then I take out the I, so it just says "love you." I think I do take off the I. I'll tell you in just a minute. But yeah, I just wanted it to kind of fit in that bottom doily, that sort of half doily that I have down there. I wanted it to fit in that area down there. So the "I love you" was just a bit too long. So I had to cut off the "I." So yeah, I'm just looking at it and I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I want to do. No, actually, you know what? I don't write "love you." I write "love." I'm sorry, I write "love." I take out the "I" and the "you" and then I just leave "love." And I fussy cut around the "love." So you'll see that. And it turns out really, really cute. I really like how it looks. So there I go. I was like, okay, I don't like this. It's not looking pretty to me. I wasn't going to be able to stamp my image on the card because it's dark. And I couldn't stamp on that doily. So I just cut it out. And I really, really like how that turned out. So there I go, just adding a little bit of glue to stick that down. And that's going to be my sentiment "love." And I think that's good enough of a sentiment. That explains pretty much what this card is about. So yeah, so at this point I'm done with the front. I am super happy with how it turned out. It's really, really pretty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of vellum to insert on the inside of my photo. And then I thought about printing a sentiment on the vellum, but I just decided I'll probably stamp something in there. But what I do is I do take that little tiny heart stamp that I have, and I'm gonna stamp right behind where those pockets are, where those shaker pockets are, so that when the card is sitting upright and the little sequins are fall into the bottom, you can still see a little heart. So you can see that I'm just using the insert to kind of guide me, and then once I have that done, I just stamp a few more hearts on the inside just to look pretty. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys check out Sketch and Scrap for awesome sketch challenges every month. I will have a link to them below. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope you guys are having a great week.